Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Jim Wetekamp. Jim is a CEO at Riskonnect. Riskonnect is a global leader in integrated risk management technology and the world's largest risk information and system provider. So, Jim, thank you for coming to our interview today. And could you please tell me a short story about Riskonnect?
Sure, and I appreciate the time today, Boris. Thanks a lot. So, Riskonnect was founded from the beginning back in 2007, oriented around being a SaaS first, agile and innovative company, and that aspect around the technology was really formulated under this idea that there needed to be a platform for all risk. And I think one of the things that makes us unique in the way we approach the market is this idea that we've got a single way for an organization to manage their strategic, operational, and extended enterprise risks all in a single platform. So the journey we've been on, over, the dozen years or so, as we've built up the company, has been one where we've seen a lot of different starting points on how organizations are trying to tackle risk, and we've gotten to experience the journey then on how those different pieces have started to link up over time and become joined into a single initiative. And that's what's been exciting and fun about being a part of Riskonnect and watching it grow is kind of the maturity of the risk management world and organizations have grown at the same time of the company, kind of step by step with each other.
All right. So how can you explain what Riskonnect offers to industry and how it differs from other risk software providers, and what are some examples of your customers' user cases?
Sure. In terms of organizations that I think get a lot of value out of Riskonnect and what kinds of organizations tend to look for Riskonnect as a trusted partner, there's generally 5 things that they see value in. One, as I mentioned previously, that ability to correlate all risk. So to be able to kind of trace the impact of risk from anything like an individual incident or occurrence or a problem that happens at a location, in a retail outpost, on a manufacturing floor, to an employee, to a customer, all the way through the various layers of how that risk may or may not have been transferred or compensated for into the library of controls and mitigations that they had planned around keeping that risk from happening, all the way up to their global enterprise risk management strategy, being able to correlate all of those things and see the impacts from common drivers across the organization. That's one reason. The idea that you can do that in an easy and agile application that conforms to the way you work as an organization is a second reason. And the fact that then by having it in a single platform where you can automate it end to end. And the kind of final capstone on top of that is driving powerful analytics off of the back of it, and then being able to leverage the industry expertise of our 500 plus employees that have deep domain experience across retail, manufacturing, pharmaceutical, the insurance industry itself, and other risk domains such as GRC. Are kind of the top reasons on why an organization chooses Riskonnect. Over 950 customers, to kind of give you an indication of some of the use cases, it can go all the way from an organization looking to, again, capture and manage the intake of incidents related to harm or near harm to employees, customers, patients, if you're thinking about a healthcare organization, into then how I'm understanding and quantifying that risk over time as far as my total exposures, and manage that exposure and overall mitigate and manage my cost of risk, into other use cases. If you look at an organization that's attempting to use it to actually run their 3 lines of defense and governance process from a governance, risk, and compliance standpoint. So do I have my top enterprise risks? What are my likelihood, impact, and of those? What are my controls? And have I assessed those controls, tested them, and what's my assurance process on the back end of it. Those are all use cases that live and exist inside the Riskonnect platform.
Okay. All right, so we are currently in the midst of the major crisis. As Richard Branson, Vision Group founder, said recently, over the 5 decades I've been in the business, this is the most challenging time we have ever faced, all without knowing how long this will last. I want to start with a broad question. What do you see as the biggest challenge for risk managers during this time?
Yeah, I think, Boris, you might find my answer to be a little bit counterculture to a lot of the things that you're reading and hearing right now, because I actually think the challenges that risk managers are facing right now are the exact same challenges they faced before. What you're seeing, though, are rapid fluctuations in them. So acceleration in some areas, deceleration in some areas of the traditional or already existing challenges for those risk managers. And it's now overlapping with short horizon objectives of the company. So that's actually what's maybe changed, is the agility necessary in what a risk manager is doing to aligning with rapidly changing environment around them. But there are 4 long-standing trends that I think risk managers have been having to deal with that are only accelerated right now. One is the digitalization of risk. So the things tied into the risk management function being automated, and the impact of that automation from an ecosystem standpoint, it's just accelerating right now. You're seeing it as people are working from home, as organizations are becoming more decentralized in their locations and how they serve their customers. The evolving reliance on data and analytics to power decision making, that was already a trend. Now it's even more powerful, and you need even more data. Where are COVID cases evolving? Where are we on the different stages or phases of the recovery curve? How has that impacted my product lines and my locations? The third area is, and you can see it across organizations, is the rising pace and scope of policy, compliance, and procedure change. That was already something happening, but now it's happening daily or weekly as people reassess travel policies, work from home policies, governmental reimbursement and payment plan policies, credit, et cetera. And then the final point is the growing importance of risk management in the corporate strategy. I think we were already seeing risk management continuing to evolve in its impact on forward organizational performance, not just risk mitigation, but performance. It's never been more true than it is right now, because how we return to work, how we re-accelerate our service of our employees, that's all sitting front and center with risk management at the table, helping to develop those strategies. So to kind of circle back, I don't think there's anything new necessarily. I just think things are moving, some swim lanes are moving more rapidly than they had in the past, while others have stopped in totality.
All right. So you guys recently created a very comprehensive handbook for risk and compliance managers related to coronavirus containment, which will help them to stay in the course during these times. Could you please elaborate more on this resource or another ones you might be working on?
Yeah, we're really, proud of being able to have produced that handbook, and it's also the fruit of a lot of input from our customers. So, being able to kind of span both the insurable and non-insurable sides of risk, we have a pretty wide span of visibility across how organizations are handling these particular challenges. And so that handbook is a lot of real tangible feedback we've gotten from our advisory board, from our industry forum calls, from different webinars we've led as it relates to responding to this particular environment. And it's just one of a series of resources. Through our customer services and client services area, we've developed a specific COVID-19 service menu for adjusting the application to be able to make rapid changes and adjust intake of COVID-related incidents and reporting. We've been able to accelerate the data management and analytics changes for them to be able to incorporate this data and incorporate trackers and other elements to their environment. From a overall relationship management standpoint, we've been operating kind of in a task force mode, talking to our customers more actively, engaging with them in terms of where they need more agile support from us. And then from a product standpoint, we've released the COVID-19 tracker, new incident types on intake, standalone COVID-19 solutions for them to use in their organizations to track incident entry, a pandemic response assessment for them to use in compliance, and temporary policy management changes and templates, along with a process for gauging the COVID-19 impact from their third parties and vendors. So not every customer is using every tool, but we've tried to be really expansive to catch a customer wherever they might need support across that scope.
Okay. Very interesting. It seems that to be a time when there is going to be an intense focus on every risk manager's action. So probably this role will be more in the focus now than it was during the better times, as we say. What tips do you have for risk managers to communicate effectively at this time?
Yeah, where we've spending a lot of time with organizations and trying to work with them is to think about risk management in the different kind of phases, and part of that is linked, as I mentioned before, on what the recovery, the shape of recovery will look like. But before you get there, it's just in terms of traditional crisis management phases. Phase one is looking at and assessing and evaluating and reacting and responding, a triage type mode. Then as we kind of get into phase two, looking at redirecting our resources and our time and our energy to the new reality. And then what is our rebound and kind of transition process into the future look like? And placing that on a matrix as it relates to thinking about risk in a different way. And that's with one side of the matrix being agility, perhaps, where in the past it might have been cost as it relates to your risk appetite. And right now, you see organizations that are thinking about cost in a different light as it relates to maintaining flexibility and being able to adjust to new things, be those commercial elements, employee elements, and engaging across that. So, we believe that the overall environment for risk management was heightening already. We believe that now risk management, and we've seen it from our customers, is playing a key role in managing those phases with the organization from an executive level. And our expectation is they will maintain that position and that influence and impact on organizations post-pandemic as we think about the new reality of businesses exiting this and what kind of situational planning we need to make to be ready and agile for the next type of event like this.
All right. So you guys based in Atlanta, in Georgia. So you might want to give us some advice on how we are supposed to get back to work, because you are kind of pioneers. What is your biggest piece of advice to give any business out there?
I think it's thinking a lot about the shape of recovery. Will it be a U? Will it be an L, a W? Will there be a secondary impact, a tertiary? I'm not certain that's going to be the same answer in all locations and for all industries. In some cases, it's going to take longer than others. In some cases, it's going to come in waves. I think it would be really hard to say that return to work for financial services looks the same as return to work for retail or manufacturing. So I don't think there's a one size fits all answer. What we're trying to focus on is as we return to work and as we kind of get to our new normal, what does that look like in the face of focus on operational resilience for the future? So have we thought through and mapped and prioritized all of our risks as we've experienced them and taken an inventory of the things we didn't know and we should have known or we could have known? And now how do we fast forward that to our end state of what returning to work looks like? So we're recommending, as people think about returning back, to think in terms of key steps and that is to reevaluate the criticality of their business services. Do they have a good inventory of them? Do they have upper and lower tolerances for risk for those services that they're providing either internally or externally? And have they mapped them end to end on what the different stages of return to work might look like, in doing so in a safe environment to effectively avoid a W recovery, right? Where they experience another interruption due to a resurgence of the virus, and that they are keeping a priority on employee and customer health and safety as they progress through it. And then leaving behind that a program where they can do this repeatably as we think about new events in the future.
Well, okay, thank you. And the last question, how do you think, what would you suggest in how the global risk community can contribute to the process of better understanding of this complex world of risk?
I think it's where, forums such as yours have a tremendous opportunity and role to play. I think the biggest ask we've seen from customers and the areas where we've gotten the most responsiveness from is the ability to benchmark. I don't think any single one of us think we've got the one tried and true template for what the answer is. And I don't think there's any one answer that works for all organizations. But do we all have the inventory of each other's playbooks on what we think success looks like, so that we can really understand the superset of creativity on some of the different tactics at these different phases, and we can then choose the right path for us. And I think that the global risk community, as it were, has a great opportunity to help facilitate and accelerate those learnings, and will put us on a total path to a more rapid recovery if we're able to accelerate sharing those resources. And that's what I think has also been great about the vendor community. It hasn't just been Riskonnect. I think seeing the responsiveness of the broader risk tools and applications, making resources available to their customers, sharing and investing in that has been great to see, and I hope we continue it for some time.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jim. I wish you a great success with your future growth plans, and I hope that our members will listen to this interview and will start using your tools and the manuals. And thank you for your interview.